Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Happy Easter. Everybody's so excited. I love it. I love it. Good morning, everyone. Happy Easter. My name is Reverend Lisa Herklotz, and I am the senior co-minister here with Reverend Jim Ernstsen, whom you're going to hear from shortly. And we are so glad to welcome you here this Sunday, this special Easter Sunday. I got up this morning and I'm sitting there looking outside and just was filled with this sense of joy because we had 3 days of rain and gloom and darkness, which was perfect for Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, and Saturday in the tomb, right? And then you get up on Sunday, Easter Sunday, and the sun could not be shining brighter, could not be more clear. It was beautiful. And I hope you shared that experience, because that is what Easter is about in our own personal journey. Well, we welcome you to Unity of Charlotte. All of you who are here in person, all of you that are joining us on Zoom, welcome, welcome, welcome. And even if you might be watching this on YouTube later, we're so glad that you tuned in, and we want you to know that we're welcome. We welcome you wherever you are and your spiritual journey. Unity of Charlotte is a place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God. And we do this through the practice of our 5 unity principles. This means, very simply put, that we are here to love, to grow, and to serve. That's kind of our fundamental mission. Is there anyone here for the first time? I know I've met some of you. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Wonderful. We do have welcome. Let's give a warm welcome. Anybody else that I might not have met here? Well, we're just delighted to have you here. We have visitor packets that if you haven't gotten one, we'll get you one after the service. That'll give you a little information about Unity and who we are. And are you going to get them? Okay. I thought we had a volunteer. I know Kate will be very good about doing that, or Maria. And if you want to stay afterwards, we're going to have a brief fellowship. Please meet our members. Come meet Reverend Jim and myself. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. We also have a wonderful website. You can get some information there. Sign up for our newsletter, and that way you'll keep on track of the events that we have coming up. So thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. And thank you for being on Zoom. A few announcements before we get started. We are, in case you haven't figured out, meeting at Wesley United Methodist Church. But for you on Zoom, or if you're watching us later and you want to come join us in person, please come join us here. The space is wonderful, and we're really so grateful and appreciative to be here. It's at 3715 Ray Road. We're meeting at 12 noon. This is our new time. And we will have fellowship in the entryway afterwards. And I'm hearing some rumors that we may be starting monthly potlucks soon. So I'm just going to put a little note out there that may be coming. Which reminds me that we have blossomed since we've been here. And that's very exciting. And we are looking for volunteers to help us with youth and family ministry, which we're getting up and going, and our hospitality, getting our hospitality service going for our potlucks and for our fellowship afterwards. We need people helping us in the service, and this is a really wonderful way to feel connected to this community and to meet people and to get to know each other. So if you have any interest in any of these or anything else you might think of, please come see myself or Reverend Jim. Now, a great big thank you is going out to our moving team. They got us from Arrowwood to this location without any real hitches, and that's a miracle. So, if you are here, please stand up. Michael Brown, Mike Barden, Alan Batten, Pat Dre, and Jim Fuller. Thank you all. Thank you guys very much. Now we have a couple of classes coming up, Prosperity Plus 2. We are looking at beginning that in April, on April 20th. This is a wonderful class. Many of you have gone through it. This is Mary Morrissey. If you haven't, it's a really practical and powerful way to tap into your own prosperous divine nature. And if you have taken it, you get to just go deeper. I know people have taken it repeatedly. However, you must register by today because we have to get materials. And right now we don't have a lot of people signed up, so if you're planning on doing it, let us know by today so we know whether this class is a go or not. If we don't go over this round, we'll be looking at other classes coming up in the future. We also have Reverend Robin Voger, who many of you know. She was a guest speaker here for a few years. She has a Christian Scriptures class, a metaphysical interpretation of Christian Scriptures. This is an SEE course, so you get credit for those of you who might be on the Spiritual Explorer path. So look at this is an online class. Look it up on our newsletter or on the website, and you'll have information of where to register for that. Then we have many ongoing groups that have been ongoing for many years for some of them. So just to let you know what we have ongoing is our Belmont study group. If you're in the Belmont, Gastonia area, check them out. They meet on Tuesdays at 7:30. These are in-person classes. The men's group will be meeting here on the second and fourth Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. And Pub Theology, which has just gotten started with Reverend Jim, meets on Thursdays at first Thursday at 5 p.m. So the next one will be April 6th.
May.
Thank you. May 4th. Okay, I've got old notes. I don't have. I'm gonna read the slide. Don't read my lips. Oh, the slide's on.
Yes, that's okay.
So what's the date supposed to be?
May 4th.
May 4th. Thank you very much.
Star Wars Day.
Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
Okay.
That's my dad joke. Come on.
Is that interesting? You deny it. Okay.
The 4th be with you.
The 4th be with you. All right. And now we have a couple of online and Zoom ongoing events: intention meditation, dialogue and service, a course in miracles, and coffee with the ministers, all ongoing on a weekly or bi-monthly first and third, bi-monthly basis. You find all this information and links in our newsletter or on our website. All right. So now I would like to let that all go and let's come into a moment of prayer as we ready ourselves to truly and deeply experience the Easter resurrection. Living, loving Spirit, here we are. Here we are. Whatever challenges we have experienced on our journey, we know we have never been alone. And even as we have walked our own dark path through the tomb, the stone has been rolled away. The light has come forth once again, just as the sunshine did this morning. It is the light of that Christ nature within me once again shining forth, bringing life, joy, zeal, and a deep and profound faith that whatever this life brings, this is our truth. So please join with me together as we speak our unity prayer of oneness. There is one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God, the good, omnipotence. We claim and affirm this presence in our lives as love, and so it is. Now, if anyone is in need of prayer requests, or you know of a loved one that you would like to put out for prayer request, we're going to take a moment of silence to let you speak their name into this holy space, knowing that as you do so, everything that is needed will respond. The universe will respond. So let me take a moment and just allow you to call forth anyone you'd like to make a prayer request for.
Marty.
Horace. Mary. Melissa.
Daryl. Susan.
In the faith of the power of Spirit working within us and through each and every living being, we know these prayers are answered, and so it is. Thank you. And now I'm going to call up Fred Monroe to read our daily word.
I was told not to joke around. How many of you know that the daily word comes in 2 sizes?
Yeah.
How many of you don't know that? How many of you are not going to respond to my survey in any way at all? They gave me the big one. Easter. The daily word today is Easter. I am resurrected through the power of the Christ. On this glorious Easter day, I'm resurrected and brimming with new life. The stones of defeat and limitation have rolled away. I am free and unlimited. Throughout my Lenten journey, I heeded the call from my soul to recognize the stones in my consciousness and awakened to the infinite potential within me. I can now rejoice in the shimmering light of awareness with an open and joyful heart. My faith is strong. I am ablaze with the radiance of spirit. I welcome eternal indwelling life into my mind and heart. Hope never dies. Jesus transcended death and demonstrated life is eternal. With a grateful heart, I rise up and claim new life. I am resurrected through the indwelling Christ. It's a new day. It's a new dawn, a new beginning. I have risen. I am the resurrection and the life. John 11:25.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fred. Now, we're going to take a moment to express our gratitude for finding this space. We had an affirmation that we have been saying every Sunday for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, and here it is, manifested. And now our affirmation is of gratitude. So please repeat with me. As we have manifested our new meeting space at Wesley United Methodist Church, we are grateful. With deep appreciation, we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would invite you, if you bump into anybody from Wesley United Methodist Church, to say thank you. We're so they have been so kind, so warm, so welcoming, and so accommodating. So know how much we respect and appreciate their form of worship and allowing us to come and do ours. So say thank you if you have that opportunity. And now it's with great joy I get to invite up Reverend Jim with our Easter message.
Thank you. Can everybody hear? All one of them. Yes, absolutely.
Be careful, I had your volume.
Be careful. protecting. They could cut you off at any moment. Can everybody hear me? I got a little bit of echo, but that's all right. But meet me there, in your own mind, meet me there. What were you doing? What are your memories of that time back then in grade school? 8, 9, 10 years old? For me, I think of Easter eggs and maybe that Easter egg hunt that we used to do. I think of Easter baskets. My brothers and I grew up in Southern California. My mom worked in Los Angeles. She worked at C's Candy. Does anybody know C's Candy? Yeah, we have some fans. We definitely have. So Mom worked at C's Candy, and so our house was full of chocolate and candy in all stripes and forms. And I think back, we had no limitation. I mean, I see other parents, you know, you get one candy a day, whatever. For my brothers and I, it was all out. Easter, it was all the chocolate you could eat. So that's my memory of Easter. My memory of Easter is just that. So I wish you on this Easter day joy and chocolate. Is what I wish you this day as well. So today's Easter Sunday, but why is that important to us? Other than the stories that we tell regularly year after year, why is Easter important to us? Now, traditionally, today commemorates within Christianity that idea of the resurrection of Jesus. That is the traditional story that you will hear on this day around the world in Christian churches. But without going into too much detail, because we're going to make a shift. We're going to move into that metaphysical end of Easter. So we're not going to focus on those details. But help me out as we just run through really quickly, because it will lead into how we use this in our metaphysical approach. Let's review really quickly that Holy Week. So last week, Reverend Lisa talked about Palm Sunday, if you heard that. What was important about Palm Sunday? And shout it out. This is interactive here. What's important about Palm Sunday?
Putting the palms on the ground for the donkey.
Palms.
Jesus straddled the donkey as they walked.
Jesus riding the donkey.
Entry.
It was a triumphal entry into the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem symbolizing that spirituality within us, that place that we attune to as well. What about Monday? What happens on Monday, that next day?
We go back to Easter, go back to Palm Sunday. The people yell Hosanna.
No, we're going to move on. Monday, because I only have 20 minutes up here. So I got to move on. What's Monday? What happens on Monday?
Turn the tables?
He turns the tables in the temple. So we have that thing. What about Tuesday? Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to skip over. We don't have a whole lot of information in the Bible on Tuesday, so we're going to rush through that one. What about Thursday? Monday, Thursday. Passover. What else?
Communion.
Pardon me?
Communion.
Communion? Washing the feet of his disciples. The betrayal. No, well, that's coming up. Hang on to that one. The Last Supper. The Last Supper is part of that. Jesus prays in the Garden of Gethsemane. Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right. And the betrayal. The arrest and betrayal. So that's Thursday. What about Friday?
Calvary.
The trial. Cavalry. I have the best time ever. What else on Friday? The crucifixion and the burial in the tomb. Saturday.
He's in the tomb.
In the tomb.
In the tomb.
In the tomb all day.
Hades Hall, according to some traditions.
In the tomb. And then today. So this is 1 week What happens on Easter Sunday? The resurrection. So that's the tradition story of all the events that lead up to today. So we're going to set those aside, but we're going to refer to those as well. For us within the Unity movement, we're going to take these elements and look at them metaphysically. What does it mean to us? Rather than just reciting that story again this year, what is it about those words in the New Testament that speak to us? What is it that we listen to? What is it that we process internally? What is our personal understanding of these events in this story? That's what's really important to us here within the Unity movement. We apply these things into our own lives using our own consciousness. Does that make sense? Within our own consciousness. Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of begs the question for some folks, and when I talk about this, some folks will still ask me, do I believe in the physical resurrection? Reverend Jim, as a minister within the Unity movement, what do you believe in? Do you believe in that crucifixion, that burial in the tomb, and that resurrection? And I'm going to tell you, absolutely 100%, I'm not really sure. I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you. I am a little bit of a skeptic, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what that skeptic sees within Easter as well. But I invite you to go through that same process as well. Do you believe in that crucifixion, that time in the tomb, and that resurrection as well? And just do it in your own mind. I'm not asking for you to shout this out at this point. This is personally in your own heart, in your own mind as well. What I can tell you is, if you were to poll 10 different Unity scholars, first of all, you're going to get 10 different answers. Some would say, absolutely, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, that's exactly the way it happened. No doubt about it. Some would say, well, maybe not. This is a metaphor to help teach us to release, to regroup, and to renew our lives. That's another way to think about this time. We're going to talk about that today, that release, that regroup, that renewal as well. And then others would say, kind of along with me, I'm just not so sure. And that's okay. So wherever you are in that belief of that Easter story, it's okay. It's okay as well. So that Unity skeptic might say, let me apply this story metaphysically to my own life circumstances. So let's just do that. Let's take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's take those 4 days. We'll break them down metaphysically and see where that leads us in terms of what we can learn and move forward with. This is the representation of the Easter story. So we talked about Thursday, but Thursday represents that darkness, that despair, that as humans, we know we experience this from time to time. Is there anyone that doesn't experience darkness and despair? I want to talk to you and see what's going on, see what your answer is. As humans, we experience darkness and despair. We admit that. And we do. We find ourselves in that place from time to time. It's that dark night of the soul that 17th century Spanish mystic John of the Cross talks about. That time of not knowing which direction to turn to. That not knowing what to do at any given moment. And then maybe sinking into that despair temporarily. That's what we're talking about with Thursday. After the Last Supper, during Jesus' time in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus asks Peter, James, and John to stay with him, if any of you are familiar with that story. Stay awake, stay with me as I go to pray. what happens? They fell asleep. Come on, guys. I asked you to just hang with me for a while, and you fell asleep. Do you think there was a little disappointment there? It's like, my friends, support me here. I'm going through a tough time. I believe that that was a little darkness on Jesus' part as well. They all fell asleep. He probably felt alone at that time. And I think some of those words that we read in the New Testament says just that. And think about those times in your own life as you were headed possibly into that dark night of the soul. Maybe your friends weren't supportive like you would hope that they would be. You might even feel that you were betrayed by somebody that you worked with. And if you're honest, it was a rough time. You did. You felt alone. And we've all been there. We've all been there before. So that's Thursday. Friday. Friday. What word do you think we talk about on Friday? The crucifixion. What metaphysically? Release. Crucifixion is a release of darkness and despair. We let go of old ways of thinking. We release. It's a surrender or an elimination of what no longer serves us. It's a release of what no longer serves us as we continue with our spiritual unfoldment. We're moving forward at this time, but we have to let go of the baggage. That's what this Friday symbolizes. It's our Good Friday lesson. It's our Good Friday lesson to release. So a bit of an aside here, because if we look around this room, and thank you for the opportunity, and we are grateful for sharing this space, but if we look around, we've got symbols, icons within this room that the Methodists use, right? Cross, crucifix, those things that we as Unity don't focus on. I'm just going to say we don't focus on. We don't shun them, but we don't focus on them. But we're sharing the space, so we see these symbols out there. This symbol within Christianity traditionally began about the 4th century. It wasn't an original symbol or an icon. Does anyone know the first symbol or icon that the early church, that those first 3 centuries maybe used?
Fish.
That fish. Who said that? Extra points. Absolutely, that fish. And around the 4th century, when the bishops were getting together, that Nicene Creed, and they were telling us what to believe as Christians, that cross that would signify the crucifixion replaced that within Christianity. So that's a little history. Within Unity, we don't really focus on that symbol, but we do share the space. And so you're going to see these around. We have a symbol that has 2 planes. It has a horizontal plane and it has a vertical plane. That horizontal plane is what we look at in terms of the earthly realm that we live in. That's the horizontal. That horizontal is finite as well. This world that we live in can feel limiting at times. It is what it is. It is where we live in this world. The vertical that we look at, that vertical plane that we look at, is that spiritual realm. It's that plane of existence that is eternal, that goes on and up forever. And that's what we work on in our spiritual lives, is that vertical plane as well. So that horizontal, we encounter this world, and sometimes that despair that we talked about in that Thursday representation. The vertical holds us up as we we experience all that is positive, all that is possible in our lives, that goodness and love that our singer talked about, that's what that vertical represents to us. It's also seen as a crossing out, possibly, of those things within our lives that we no longer want or need. It is a crossing out of what no longer serves us in this life. So that's how we reinterpret that symbol or that icon. So let's get back to our days. We went through Thursday, we went through Friday, Saturday. Saturday is, what word would you use metaphysically for Saturday?
Rest.
Going within?
The darkness.
It's a darkness. It's a removal from. And you're going to see, I'm giving you a little hint here. We're using the R's. So we have, the pirates, R's. We've done release, now we're into removal. So when I ask you about Sunday, there's going to be another R. So Saturday is a removal. You're in the tomb, it's sealed, it's dark, you removed yourself from things that are going on. You're allowing this time to center yourself. Again, metaphysically, you are centering. There is a time of introspection. And maybe that's prayer. And maybe that's meditation. Maybe that's therapy. I don't know. That's what the removal piece is for us. And that's Holy Saturday. That's the tomb lesson for us. So Sunday, another R. What do you think? Sunday. Resurrection. Other than resurrection, another R. Rebirth is a good one. Restore is another good one. Rise. That's the one I picked. I rise up. But none of those R's were wrong. I loved each and every one of those. I rise up out of that dark space. That, like Reverend Lisa talked about, that stone is rolled away. That sunshine is on us. We rejoice. All these R's today. We rejoice and rise up. We roll away that stone. We are renewed and ready for that next phase of life. That's the Easter message for us. Risen. It is an ultimate victory over darkness, because we don't have to live in that darkness. Yeah, we experience it. That was the Thursday. We experience it. But we don't have to stay there. We rise up. That is the metaphysical story. That moment and that movement from darkness into light. That's our Easter story. So, knowing that every day of our lives we can move through those R's that I just talked about. Now I can't think of anything but pirates now. That's just me. That's just crazy me. Darkness through those, release, regroup, and risen. Every day can be that. Every hour of our day can be that when something comes up and challenges us as well. Happy Easter. Know that I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I see the divine in each and every one of you. So now's the time where we get a chance to move into meditation. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable, shift around, maybe your feet are planted on the ground, experiencing that as well. You wiggle around, you find a place for your hands, maybe your hands are in your lap. Palms down, palms up, it doesn't really matter. I invite you to close your eyes if that makes you comfortable. If not, just look at something out in front of you and unfocus your eyes and just relax at this time. And find your breath. Notice your breath. feel that breath wherever it is in your body. Each one of us is different. Can be that chest, can be in your belly as that rises and falls. I feel my breath at my nostrils as that cool air enters and that warm air leaves. And we find that rhythm. We find that rhythm. And we allow it to settle ourselves, and we relax with each exhale. And we know that through this Easter story, that our natural state is that of release, it is of rising up once again. And we're so glad we know these things. We feel that breath once again. Allow ourselves to go a little bit deeper. Maybe each breath is a release, a regroup, and a renew. As we focus on that spiritual idea of Easter in our lives, we use this time of meditation to listen and to explore. We know that our consciousness, we know that through these worldly circumstances, through these challenges, they do not dictate our reality. Instead, we have learned to release, to remove, to rise up again. That is our reality. We also know that we're not doing this alone. We are supported by each member of this congregation, each other, the energy that we bring together. That's why we come together. It's to feel that, to support each other, to know that. And knowing the Divine Spirit is here with us as well, in and through each member of this congregation. I continue to move deeper through each breath. As we move into silence for the next minute or so. As we begin to gently come out of this silence, we claim this idea of rising up again to be our birthright, is ours. And we are blessed with this knowledge. I invite you, if your eyes are closed, to gently open them once again, to become aware of this room. Maybe even let out a sigh as we come back. Namaste.
Hallelujah. Well, thank you, Reverend Jim, for sharing the depth and power of the Easter story and how it personally is our own spiritual journey. And this is the time now we want to move into our offertory blessing. This is the time when we say thank you, because if it weren't for you, you are what allows Unity of Charlotte to thrive and to continue to serve this community. And we know that through the law of circulation, that as we give, so we receive. And everything we give is multiplied in good. So please join with me in saying our offertory blessing together.
Joyously I give this gift, knowing the divine presence